I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had, made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Hi, Jim of Better Futures Minnesota here. Does your business or organization need janitorial services, lawn care, or snow removal? Obtain a free, no-obligation estimate from Better Futures Minnesota when you let us know that you heard about us on AM 950. Our supervised, hardworking, and affordable crews will handle your interior and exterior building and property maintenance needs while you help men in the community transform their lives and walk on a positive path to success. It's a win-win. To learn more, go to betterfuturesminnesota.com under Business Services.
Hey Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 71, then Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 86. Comedy legend Kathy Griffin brings her My Life on the PTSD List tour to the Pantages Theater in Minneapolis on October 11th. You can get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com or listen to the Matt McNeil Show all week for your chance to win.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, which means distant thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot, and hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Daga, and this portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Looks like we started the show a little early. I don't know. It's is the Earth spinning quicker or slower, or what's?
Maybe it could be that full moon, partial eclipse kind of thing.
Oh, Don't scare me! Don't scare me like that. But yeah, that's going on tonight. The full moon. Relatives receive their cycles or have menopause. The ceremony is inclusive to two-spirit and transgenders. You want to talk a little about that? There's a full moon ceremony happening.
Yeah, of course. So us as Indigenous people, we take time as women or anyone who identifies as female to take time during the full moon phase to just celebrate and be part of nature. So relatives who receive their moon or menstrual cycles or have reached menopause, the ceremony is also inclusive to two-spirit and trans relatives as well. You can join NAC, Native American Community Clinic, or American Indian Family Center for a full moon ceremony tonight, Tuesday the 17th. I know NAC's is at 8 p.m. in the Little Earth Gym in Minneapolis. That address is 2501 Cedar Ave, and that'll be at 8 p.m. But for the St. Paulers and the East Metro people, you can join the American Indian Family Center. They will be hosting a full moon ceremony at 6:30 p.m. at the Baldwin Conservancy Savannah Center in Afton, Minnesota. And that address is 795 Indian Trail South, Afton, Minnesota.
Well, thanks for that update. Just jumping right into that. And also today is National Voter Registration Day. And you need to make sure that you are, everybody across Turtle Island is registered, because as we know, hanky-panky happens around our reservations, and we need to be aware of people being taken off the the voter registration. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready to vote, and visit vote.gov for more information on how to do these things. And it's interesting too, Haley, that we really, as Native Americans, have to really fight for our opportunity to vote, because a lot of us don't have addresses that are on the res.
Right, right. That's such a good point. And there's so many barriers that are kind of like put in place to keep Native Americans from the polls. Like we saw like almost 4 years ago now how the election of the native vote, or how the native vote kind of swung election results in the last presidential election, especially in Arizona. But yeah, so today is National Voter Registration Day. You can update your voter registration if you've moved, or if you've changed names, like got married, or would like to request an absentee ballot. You can visit vote.gov for more information on how to do those things. Or if you're in Minnesota, mnvotes.gov is a good resource as well. For more info on the Native vote specifically, you can check out the Native American Rights Fund, and that website is vote.narf.org. And as Senator Mary Kunesh reminded me today, early voting begins Friday, September 20th, which is this week.
Yeah, definitely. Wendy and I will be doing that when we get back from New York in a week or so, and it'll be easy for us to help other people vote and have a plan after we vote early. And so we always do that, and we're excited, and it's so important. We don't even have to really. We're preaching to the choir in a big sense when it comes to how important this election is, but this election is very important. Our sovereignty as Native Americans is on the line, and I have to again say that, Haley, that I cannot afford to be a one-issue voter. We need to really get the blue team in, and then move them more progressively as they have been over the years, and recently, and in the state of Minnesota.
Yes, yes. So that's a good point. Yeah, I know a lot of people, especially Native Americans and some of our elders, are hesitant to vote, especially in state and federal elections. But like you just said, Robert, our sovereignty is on the line this election, and to have someone like Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who has visited all tribal nations in Minnesota, he was the first governor to do so. He does care about native views and opinions, so it's a good team to support this year.
Well, and not only that, I believe that he can help Kamala with if there's any questions, if it's things are out of her radar, and he can help her as vice president to achieve things for Native people. I mean, look at what's happened here in Minnesota, and granted, it's our great legislators, our state and senate that have done such great work in Indian country. But he signed those bills, and he signed those bills immediately, and he signed those bills without even thinking about it. In a sense, there has been no consternation towards Native Americans, and as you spoke earlier, we're used to politicians coming on the res and begging for our votes, and then never seeing them again for 4 years, and that hasn't been the Walsh-Flanagan administration here in Minnesota. Is the total opposite of that, and they meet with the 11 tribes pretty often, and I mean at least monthly is what I hear.
Yes, yes, I have heard that as well. Well, tomorrow is a very important day. The
Is it my
first
birthday?
ever.
Is it my birthday?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I wish.
Yeah.
Something even a little bit better, maybe we could argue. Tomorrow, Wednesday, September 18th, is the first ever Native Americans Elders Day.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
Yeah, wait, I can do that, I think. Hold on.
Okay.
I always like that button on there. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
So
a
our
little bit
friend.
about it? I'm an elder, so
Yeah, that's right.
I have to learn about this.
Yeah, so our friend Marin Hardy of Spirit Care Services joined us last week on Native Roots Radio. It's always so great to chat with her. And I know Marin just did a great interview on CBS, and she was honoring the ones that made it possible for us to be here, our elders. So Native American Elders Day will be held tomorrow in Richfield, Minnesota at Veterans Park, Wednesday, September 18th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more information on the first ever Native American Elders Day, you can visit spiritcareservices.com for more information and if you need a ride.
Yeah. What a great organization. And, her enthusiasm and the people she works with, and enthusiasm is really comes through. And, I watched that WCCO interview on TV, and she did an awesome job, as she does here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's something happening. Did we already talk about the full moon? It's kind of affecting me now. I feel like after going to the hearing doctor that I can hear better in my left ear all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. I did hear about your little doctor visit. Well, we did talk about full moon ceremonies and what that represents to us women and those who identify as women in our Indigenous communities. But this month's full moon is a little bit different. It's got some extra weight attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
These are just my notes that I was able to gather as I was researching on this month's moon. But there'll be a partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, which is a water sign.
Oh.
Yeah. And Pisces is also the last sign of the zodiac. There's 12 zodiac signs. Pisces is the last one in the lineup.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a Pisces rising. So I'm having a fun time with this moon phase.
Yeah.
But yeah, the signs most affected by this partial eclipse and this full supermoon are Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius.
And what am
Pisces.
And what am I?
What are you?
Gemini.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah. But I don't believe in that except my own Gemini.
Okay.
I do believe in Gemini. The other ones, well, no, what's Wendy? A Sagittarius?
Oh, gosh. So it's affecting all three of us?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. We shouldn't be in the same room.
No, we can be. Well, hey, before we get too far in the weeds, what's the show about today? And I always that's my famous question off the air before we start the show. But tell our listeners what we got to look forward to in the next 3 segments.
Of course, we're going to be welcoming back Ruth Buffalo of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, and then we're going to be joined by artist and musician David Huckfelt and Annie Humphrey, who is Leech Lake Ojibwe, and we're going to be talking about their fall tour, The Fire in the Village.
I always love those music shows, and of course, Ruth Buffalo will give us first-hand detail on the 40th anniversary party that I was not able to make. So I'll be excited to hear about that. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. Robert Pilot and Haley Cherry coming up next. Ruth Buffalo. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Stay with us.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
No one should have to choose between a paycheck and their health. Whether it's for a new baby, an unexpected illness, or an aging parent, Minnesotans deserve time to care for themselves and their families. That's why Minnesota Democrats are fighting for all working people to have paid family and medical leave. The time is now. Contact your legislator and tell them to pass paid family and medical leave for Minnesota. Learn more at paidleavemn.org. That's paidleavemn.org. Paid for by the Minnesota AFL-CIO.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by J. Ash Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake.
Yes, they do, and great coffee and great product. And I love Steve's blend, that dark roast. It curls my nose hair, but I really, really love the taste too. I like that little bitter
good.
taste, kind of an espresso kind of taste.
Yeah, like shots of espresso, just plain.
Yeah, I think that's called Americano. If I
Fancy.
remember my coffee days as a
Wow.
bistro for somebody that I was dating at the time, owned a coffee shop, but I won't get deep into that.
Okay. Well, cool. You know your coffee.
I know how to froth too.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those frothers?
Used to, where you heat up the milk and it makes froth.
Yeah.
I don't like that word, froth.
Froth. You know what that kind of reminds me of? So, do you know how we talked a bit about last season in the hockey season with the new Minnesota professional women's hockey team?
Hey, they got a name now.
Yeah, they do.
What is it?
It's the Minnesota Frost.
Oh, I like that.
You do. Yeah, it's growing on me a little bit.
I ran into them at the state fair, and they were walking
You
around with
did?
their trophy.
Oh, that's super cool. The Walter Cup.
Yeah, and I was like, I used to be the selfie king of Facebook, and since my other job, I don't do as much with random people, I should say, and I should have did a selfie with those guys because there was like 6 or 7 walking around, kind of wearing the same clothes, warm-up clothes, and they were walking around with that trophy, and I said, "What's that trophy for?" And they told me. But they
Yeah,
were
it's a
gone,
big
but
deal.
it's huge deal. You went to the opener, didn't you? It was like
Yeah.
14,000 people.
Yeah. So I think there was like 6 different teams from across the country, 6 different states that started out the franchise last season.
Mhm.
And yeah, I got to go to the XL Center and do the girls' home opener game of their season, and it was
What?
just a packed house.
It was a record of some sort.
Yeah, I remember that, and they won. They won it all last season.
Yeah.
So
Well, they were walking around State Fair with the cup. It was, I don't know, do you know what the trophy was called? Because it looked like
the
a
Walter Cup.
Yeah, there was a little teeny silver cup on top of this trophy.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you remember when Zach from I think the Vegas Knights, Zach Whitecloud, the Vegas Knights won the Stanley Cup a
Oh,
few
yeah.
years back, and he brought the Stanley Cup back to the powwow grounds of his nation.
I know, that's crazy, and you can do that. I think each player, don't they get a week with the cup and they can go around, and I know over the years people have gone fishing with the Stanley Cup and
Yeah.
gone drinking with it, bar hopping with it, and
Yeah,
it's
that sounds right.
a lot of crazy stuff. I used to be a really big hockey fan when I was younger. There was the St. Paul Saints and that were going up against the NHL, and we had a great team in St. Paul called the Minnesota Fighting Saints. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
And great logo. And they had some really great players, but the league did not sustain itself, and they started losing because it got into a bidding war. And that's where Gretzky got his started as 18-year-old professional, was in the WHA.
Oh, Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah.
The best player of all time.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
cool.
Yeah. It's crazy. But we've really regressed into hockey talk here, and I see our friend Ruth is looks like she's driving somewhere. Let's add her to the show.
Hi.
Hey, welcome, Ruth.
Hi. Apologies. I got caught running some errands for work, and so thanks for working with me. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's always great to have you on. It's Ruth Buffalo, Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center CEO, and looks like expert driver too.
Yeah, I'm almost to my house, so I can turn the camera on. I'm at a red light, but yeah.
Awesome. Hey, a lot going on. I want to get a little report on yesterday, but also I saw you were in Washington. A big prayer to you and all the people that were there on that day. Ruth, can you tell us a little more?
Sure. Yeah, that was a event that many people were invited to at the White House on the back lawn. It started at like 5:45 on September 12th, and it was celebrating 30 years of the Violence Against Women Act.
Wow. So you were as close as you were you were that close to the White House. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it was an amazing event. Nice, sunny, hot weather, and pretty awesome to be in that space with many advocates and survivors and policymakers. So yeah, and we saw a lot of tribal leaders and tribal coalitions and other organizations across the country, and yeah, it was an amazing event for sure.
Yeah, awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about yesterday. I saw my internet, my Facebook feed blowing up on the 40th anniversary of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center in Minneapolis. How did that go?
Oh, it went really, really good. Everything was so beautiful. The community came together, and the meal was amazing. We were getting a lot of compliments on the meal, and we're so thankful for our community partners' support. The meal was sponsored by NACD. It was buffalo roast and mashed potatoes, green beans, gravy, fry bread, and wild rice. So yeah, it was a amazing time, and just really awesome to see everyone come together and celebrate 40 years of existence for Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center.
That is so awesome. Big kudos to you and to the people that work there. It's so important for our community, but it's also important for the community to celebrate this great achievement. 40 years. If we think about 40 years ago, um, there was a lot of things that weren't in our favor, and there was a lot of, I want to say, courage to start a group like this in the 80s. I believe 84 is 40 years ago. I could be wrong. Is it? I'm getting old. It
Yes.
could be 94.
Yes, like there was the original and then like the kind of like the grand opening and things, but yeah, it's 40 years, September 16th. And it was amazing to see there's founding members that were in attendance, and
Wow.
yeah, and we had actually received recognition from Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan here in the state of Minnesota, celebrating 40 years of our 40th anniversary. So we received a recognition certificate from the governor's office, and Patina Park, a former CEO, presented that yesterday to Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center.
Wow, that's huge, and that's huge. What history, and again, what courage those founders had to do to take on, and it's not a light lift right now. We're still dealing with a lot of the same issues that we had 40 years ago, but I think we're with an organization like Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, we're able to tackle these things a lot better with the knowledge that we've had over these last years.
Yes, for sure. And the community support, community partnerships are so critically important. It was fun to be at AIOIC today for their voter registration event, and MIWRC had a booth there. And so yeah, it was heartfelt and touching to come across an individual who I used to coach when I was at United Tribes Technical College, and she's now unhoused, and so it was Kind of a tough moment because I almost didn't recognize her, but it was good to see her and to give her a couple big hugs and offer support. But she's here and she's from North Dakota, and so it's those encounters that definitely hit the heart.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. That's hard news. Appreciate that. We have to appreciate that and haven't seen in a while that need our help. And uh, I don't know. That's hard, Ruth. That's really hard, and I appreciate you. Hey, we only got a minute left here. Can we talk a little bit about how people, and I always want to give this opportunity when we're on, how people can support your work, and then we'll let you go and drive really fast home.
Oh, yeah. I'm okay. I'm back now. Just in the driveway, so I'm safe. So yeah, thank you so much for having us on every week, to share updates in real time for MIWRC. A quick way to offer support is by donating online at miwrc.org/donate. We have a lot of amazing programming and services that are being offered, and we have an amazing team, and we offer a lot of critically important services on a daily basis, such as the drop-in center that provides warm showers, warm meals, safe space, and get connected to resources. So every bit helps, and it helps in immediate time. Any amount that is able to be given towards MIWRC goes directly to helping our client relatives immediately. So mods to get odds. Thank you.
Hey, have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. That was Ruth Buffalo of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune into Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio here to tell you about the best window contractor in Minnesota, 952 Windows. Here's why I trust them in my home projects. 952 Windows is a part of Loyal Home, founded by former window light workers known for their ethics and quality. It's a top-notch remodeling company that's been flying under the radar for too long. They've even sold to competitors' employees who want top-tier quality for their homes. For the best in windows and doors, have 952 Windows take care of your next project. They offer the longest warranties and were rated Energy Star's most efficient in windows and doors. Believe me, I've known the owner for decades, so I can vouch for their excellence. They're not just about windows either. They're your go-to for roofing, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, and more. Plus, they've got you covered on onyx bath and rosebud cabinets. Trust me, you won't regret giving them a call at 952 Windows or 952windows.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been going to Shamblat Family Dentistry for years. They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
The future of car shopping is here right now at Rudy Luther Toyota with Luther Direct. It's car shopping without ever leaving your home. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com and click on the Luther Direct button. Choose any vehicle in Rudy Luther Toyota's current inventory, either new or certified pre-owned. Then find out your trade-in's value, review a payment plan you qualify for and customize it, and then set up a time for Rudy Luther to drop off your new vehicle and pick up your trade-in. It's that simple. Your new vehicle without any of the hassle. Check out Luther Direct today at rudyluthertoyota.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 71, then Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 86.
For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis Edina City line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hi, this is Governor Walz. Thank you for listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, we got a big show here now. We have Annie Humphrey and David Huckfelt here, and we're going to be talking music for the rest of the show. Welcome, you two. Thank you so much. A big peeny for you guys coming on.
Hello, thank you.
Hello, thank you so much, Robert. Haley, nice to see you.
Right on. Well, we just had you guys just had a concert, and you guys are doing a tour. Can you talk a little bit about that and what's happening and what's coming up next?
Do you want to, David?
Yeah, sure. We just kicked off the Zaka'an celebration for our new organization, a collective of artists, really, called Fire in the Village. We did it at the Turf Club in St. Paul on Thursday night, and for those that were there, it was a beautiful expression that went from a fashion show. We had woodblock printing for patches and prints in the back. We had cookies baked by my mother, and we had music from Annie Humphrey, myself, special guests Keith Sikola and Thomas X, and it was just the very beginning of this new version of work that Annie and I and Shania Matson have been doing for a long time, which is finding ways to bring art and music into communities, especially small towns, reservations in the upper Midwest. And I think it was pretty fun, wasn't it, Annie?
I guess for me, it's important to talk about Fire in the Village and the reason we even had this event. Fire in the Village is a really new nonprofit, and it is an art thing, but it's much more than that. My mentor was John Trudell, and John, he always encouraged people to, use your intelligence. Words are power. And so I think when you're creating art and being creative, because creativity is that faculty of imagining something that's not there and is there. Well, now we got this device in our palm that you don't have to imagine stuff. You just look at the screen. So being creative, creating art means you're thinking for yourself. And when you think for yourself, you are empowered. And when you're empowered, you can recognize your own spirit and your own depth. So that's kind of the purpose of this whole project, is to encourage people to create, think for yourself. And I think that we can have real change happen like that if more people start thinking for themselves.
Wow, David, that's right on. And Annie, we love John Trudell, and it's so great to talk to you about that legend in Native community and activism, and also art and poetry and music. I mean, we miss him as a community so much, Annie. it's amazing that he was your mentor.
Yeah. I think too that there is life after death. There is. My mom said we die 3 times. The first time we die is when our body stops working. The second time we die is when our body goes back to the earth. And the third time is when the people who knew us stop saying our name, stop talking about us. So we can keep John alive. Let's keep talking about him and repeating what he said.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've ever heard the beginning of our show, but there's a little sound clip of John speaking, and we try to keep that name alive with us here at Native Roots Radio. David, how did this idea come up with? I mean, it's a beautiful idea. You two are like world-class musicians, and working together and having these other artists working with you. How did this come about?
It really is kind of it's a consortium of ideas. The original vision, I think, communicated what Annie communicated to me. Where we overlapped was that original work with John. But I think the explosive, revolutionary nature of creativity, art, and music. It's just in Annie and I's discussions and in each of our individual experience with John, we end up playing defense on sort of a national or global scale, and it pushes us into corners. And thinking for ourselves and starting an organization that features the art and the music, it helps take the playing field kind of out of the hands of whoever you want to call them, corporate, industrial kind of corporate framework, and puts it back in the hearts of the people to inspire. And so, we bring our whole personalities, and we're really good listeners when we show up places. We don't presume to know what a community needs, but we know how to ask the right questions. And so collectively, there's fashion, there's music. I mean, I spent 20 years as a songwriter, a touring musician. Shania Matson has been a persistent organizer and artist herself. And I think the idea is we're stronger together. The village that we're starting is already growing. And there's ways for people to get involved. We'd like to kind of set a beautiful stage, put on a show, and then kind of step aside and let the community fill in all the gaps with their various talents and perspectives. So we have a 13-date tour coming up all across the upper Midwest, places like Bemidji, Brainerd, Grand Rapids, Ely, Duluth, Ashland, Wisconsin, and down into Iowa City. I'm excited about every show on the whole itinerary.
Annie, how did you come up with the name Fire in the Village?
Fire in the Village came from, there are different kinds of fire, right? There's the big destructive, all-consuming fires. There's a little candle flame, but that fire that you build and strike and it just stays this big, and people are attracted to it, and then you stare into it, and you talk about dreams, and you talk about teachings, and you laugh. I mean, that's the kind of fire, right? And you don't have to feed it and make it bigger. You just have to keep it going, and you keep it going by gathering. So we also have a story about the crow. So our kind of our brand, the logo is the crow, about how Crow saw that the people were having a hard time because, there was no fire. So their food, they couldn't cook food, and the winters are very cold. So Crow decided they'd fly up to the sun, bring fire to the people. And as Crow got closer to the sun, I always forget this part, that Crow started out as a vibrantly colorful bird. But as he got closer to the sun, the feathers were scorching, and the voice even scorched. But he succeeded at bringing fire back down to the people. And the word for crow is ondeg, and it means changing in the light. So, and then in Ojibwe, Ishgade is the word for fire. Ode is our word for heart. So heart, O'Day translates to the fire in us. So I just thought everything connected so cool, and the fire in the village and our crow really represents well what we're all about.
Well, yeah, thank you, Annie, for that story. David, you talked a little bit about the what happened at the Turf Club. What is your takeaway? People were excited, and we like to gather, and we like to gather in a good way too. So it sounded like it was a really good way.
Uh, it was, Robert. To me, it felt like a very good way. And honestly, after 20 years in the music business, the the template needs to be messed with and adjusted, just like anything that gets stale and capitalistic. Like, this is not just a concert, and I witnessed the explosive energy of, like, we had all these models, these young students from McAllister that came and put on Annie's found and sustainable thrift fashions, and you could just see people's their eyes kind of lighting up with, there's no separation between the stage and the community. We're not doing that version of it. The power of songs, gathering. Like, I think messing with some of those templates and being a little more inclusive, and also going places where, the Turf Club, of course, is in the cities in St. Paul, and it's a music venue, but they don't have fashion shows and woodblock printing. But a lot of these towns on our itinerary, they get skipped over by touring bands, and and people in the city make campaigns to tell those kind of folks what's good for them, and we're showing up to listen, and like you said, Robert, in a good way.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that. And what I want to do here, we're going to have you for another segment, is I just want to play off here for another minute or so Annie's a song by Annie Humphrey, and we're gonna go to commercial with that song right now.
Is it okay if my hair is tangled up and getting gray? Is it okay if I don't moisturize the wrinkles round my eyes? Is it okay if I say I've never sinned? Is it okay that I draw stories in my skin? Is it okay if I swear a lot when I speak? Is it okay that I got bunions on my feet? Is it okay if I'm in therapy?
Everyone likes a litter-free ride on Metro Transit buses and trains, so pitch in. Take pride in your ride and take your trash off with you when you get off at your stop. You'll find trash bins at every Metro station. Want to help clean up transit stops in your neighborhood? Join the hundreds who volunteer to adopt a stop and keep it picked up. Learn more at metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop. That's metrotransit.org/adopt-a-stop.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Discover the emotional depth and vivid storytelling of Jay White's Arikara proper at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This solo exhibition celebrates Arikara culture through the lens of an urban Indian perspective. Experience themes of empowerment, depictions of Native women, stars, and star quilts within White's vibrant acrylic paintings. Arikara proper is showing now through October 5th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Get inspired by Jay White's powerful storytelling on canvas. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Then we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, let's take a little listen here to David's tune here. Let's just listen to a quick cut. Hey, welcome back. Hey, we have Annie Humphrey and David Huckfelt on, and we're talking about their tour entitled Fire in the Village, and we just played a couple cuts. First, let's talk a little bit. David, the name of that song was The Crack.
That's an unreleased song. I just sent it over to you guys today because I wanted you to have it, and Haley asked about it. It's just a song about what happens after the experiment of democracy needs a big makeover, to include all of us. So, yeah, pretty new song just for you guys.
Right on. Well, we appreciate that. And Annie, we played your song too on the out, and the name of that song was Is It Okay? And is it okay, Annie?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, Robert. Everything's okay.
Good one. Talk a little bit about the inspiration of that song.
Oh, well, I don't consider myself like super entertaining. Like there are places I cannot get into with what I do. So, I tend to say things, and I'm able to say like profound stuff in a really concentrated amount of time, and it makes me sound really intelligent, makes me sound like I have more answers. So I wrote this song because people would ask me after shows, ask me big questions. I'm like, and then so I wrote this song about all of the things that, like, my defects or my flaws, and that's what it's about. It was very therapeutic for me.
Awesome. Well, I got to say this, Annie. I've seen you perform, and I've seen David perform, and I just want to say to you, Annie, I don't know if this is the right adjective, but you have one of the prettiest, cleanest voices I've ever heard in live music entertainment. It's distinct, and it's I don't know if the word clean is a good word, but it's a beautiful voice.
Thank you, Robert. That's cool. Yeah, that's nice to hear. When you live with yourself forever,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, right on. David, I think you and I were talking about that a couple weeks ago about Annie's voice.
It's very beautiful. It makes the sometimes difficult and true things that she's saying a little easier to digest.
Yeah. Yeah, really yeah, good point there. Let's talk a little bit because we only got a few more minutes left here in the show. Let's talk about your tour again and where people can see Fire in the Village. And which artists will there be different artists performing with you, or will they be the same artists that will be performing with you, David?
Um, we'd like to keep the door open, community to community. That perhaps a special guest will come. We'd like to involve community members. Annie and I will both perform our music at each show, and all of the information. We did our very best to make these shows very affordable to the public. So on fireinthevillage.org, there's all the tour dates. There's links and information about start times. Often we congregate before the event and have coffee or cookies. But we didn't know that Thomas X would be dropping by at the Turf Club, but he delivered a powerful set of spoken word poetry, and it's the kind of thing where we stay open to improvising. We're growing the village, even though we're keeping the fires small.
Yeah, that's exciting, and that's to me kind of being a teen of the '70s and a child of the '60s. That reminds me of a lot of the way concerts were done back in the day. Annie, you have any final thoughts here? This is just amazing. How can people hear your music? I know you have a lot of CDs out over the years, and I'm sure you have a YouTube channel, and people can check you out. Let our listeners out there that aren't familiar with you know how we can support you and get your CDs and downloads and all that.
By coming to Fire in the Village events. That's how support.
Right.
And the fashion show is thrift. It's used pre-owned stuff. I tear it apart. I reconstruct it, redesign it. That's what people are probably wondering, what is a fashion show? But we're just tearing up old clothes and sewing them back together. And I'm very proud to say too, Robert, that we are a new org. We have no money, and we put this event on at the Turf Club with no money. It's doable, you guys. You don't have to wait for money to fall into your lap to make stuff happen.
Right on. And the Turf Club's been around for a long time. I remember seeing a little big band there back in the '70s and '80s. I think I even played my trumpet in the Turf Club back when I was cranking on that thing.
Wow.
I don't know if I can play now with my new veneers here. It makes the mouthpiece a little different, but I guess if I practiced. Tell us, we got a couple minutes left here, David. Give us a rundown here on the next time, and we'd love to have you guys on again, especially before you guys are playing your next gig. Give us some information.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that there's kind of an epidemic of loneliness, and we are gathering in person at these cool old theaters, community centers, town to town. Check out fireinthevillage.org. Look at our tour dates. For those of you listening in the Twin Cities, we will be appearing at the Hook and Ladder Fire in the Village Presents on November 29th, Decolonized Thanksgiving event. All are welcome, and we'll probably be a finely tuned machine to some degree by then. So check out our tour dates. Come out in person. Every good thing happens in person. But we appreciate you guys having us on so very much.
Well, we got to do it again. Annie Humphrey and David Huckfelt. We're going to leave here a little bit with The Crack by David Huckfelt. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
I say nobody religion. Last heart off the grid. I saw 2 green eyes and was last night. So we should leave. So
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about